Hey guys, welcome to Crafty Friday on SoCraftastic. Today we are doing a yarn project. It's a yarn flower, woo! You're going to need a knitting loom. I got this jumbo spool knitter from Walmart and it was fairly inexpensive. But if you don't have a store-bought loom or you can't get your hands on one, then I'm going to show you also how to make your own out of a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll. Really easy, recycled, pretty much free, and then you'll need popsicle sticks and tape. Apologies for the really super bad lighting, but as you can see, I'm not in my home. I'm in LA and I'm doing a shoot today with 17. We're doing some holiday DIYs today for their channel, but I am still working on my stuff while I'm here. It's like 8:30 in the morning and I'm filming an intro for you guys. This is the flower I'm making in the video. Without further ado, let's get into the tutorial and make some yarn flowers. To make a beautiful yarn flower, I'm going to use 3 different colors of yarn and a jumbo spool knitter that I got from Walmart, and it also came with a hook and a needle. But don't worry, if you don't have a knitting loom, you can actually make your own out of household materials. So you can use a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll and some popsicle sticks and either rubber band them or tape them. Just you want to attach them as securely as possible, and then you can make your own loom and you can actually use your fingers instead of a hook if you don't have a hook. Now you have a recycled homemade loom that's practically free and super easy to make, and you can make rainbow loom projects or yarn projects on this. The first part of the flower that we're going to be making are these outside petals that are yellow on my first flower, but I'm going to be making them in blue for this video. I'm going to be making mine on the plastic spool knitter that I have, but I'm also going to show you how to start it on the homemade loom. Bam! For this part, go ahead and grab a ruler and a pair of scissors that are barely in the shot. There we go. Take the end of your yarn and you're going to drop it down through the loop and pull it out the bottom. Did I say loop? Tube? I meant tube. So we're dropping the yarn down through the tube, then grab it from the bottom, and you don't have to measure, but you want a good 5-6 inches to hang down. Then we're going to form an E-wrap like this. It will be behind the next popsicle stick, and you'll bring it around the front and again to the back of the next popsicle stick, where you'll make your next loop, bring it around the back, loop it to behind the orange one. Well, it will be maybe a different color for you, but then you'll just wrap it around like so, and you have your first layer of loops. Now we're going to make a second layer of loops, so you'll just do the same exact thing, but on top of that first loop, of course, on every single popsicle stick. So there we go. Now we have 2 loops. And basically what you're going to do, you can use your fingers like I said. So for those of you who don't have a hook, I'm going to show you how to do this with your fingers, but I like to use the hook. You can use a rainbow loom hook if you have one, and I just bring the bottom loop of yarn up over the top one. You have to be careful that the top one doesn't slide off while you're doing this, but let me show you how to do this if you're just using your fingers and you don't have a hook. So you would just pull it or slide it gently up over the top of that loop. Then it will go to the inside. You'll repeat that to this popsicle stick on the right, and that means we're going in a counterclockwise rotation, which just means that we're moving to the right every time in a circle. So bring it up and over, go over to this one, bring the bottom loop up over the top, and on the final popsicle stick again, bring the bottom loop up over the top. Then you'll take your working yarn, which is still connected to the skein by the way, so you don't want to cut that off, and you'll go around these and form another loop on all 5 of the popsicle sticks. Really easy. Then you're seriously going to do these exact same steps for quite a while because you want your loop coming out of the bottom. It's going to form something like this yellow one, you want it to be about 25 inches long. For this yellow flower, it might have been closer to 26, but I'm going to take what I just did all off because, like I said, I'm going to use my plastic loom knitter for this project. This part's going to be a tiny bit repetitive because I'm starting over and I'm just putting the yarn through the middle of my jumbo spool knitter. And then I'm grabbing it through the bottom. Now you're going to form the loops, so you're just going to go around and behind each peg on your spool. There is your first set of loops, so your first layer. But you're going to continue and form a second layer as well because you need to be able to pull the bottom loop up over the top to form your stitch. Here's the last one we just wrapped, so you're going to start on this one. And you're just going to pull the bottom loop up over the top, and you can hold on to the end of your string just so it doesn't get pulled up and shortened. Then pull the bottom loop up over the top on the one to the right, and then move to the next one on the right. Pull the bottom loop over the top on this one and on the final one. Pull at your end string to tighten it a little bit. And then you're going to create another layer of loops, and you're going to keep doing this. So you'll wrap, 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 and do that 5 times until your string gets to here. And you'll hook, go to the right and hook the bottom over the top. Move on to the next and the next. And this 5th one over here. Ooh, there we go. Pull the bottom string to tighten it, and you're going to, guess what? Do the same exact things over and over. Keep doing the exact same steps. It will be a little bit easier on this loom because it has the hooks at the top to help the yarn from coming off. So if you do have the homemade one, you'll have to be extra careful to make sure that you're holding the top loop every time you pull the bottom one over. Now I've completed a handful of stitches, and when you pull the string through the bottom, you can see that it's gaining length. Like I said, you'll want your yarn tube, which is this, to be about 25 or 26 inches long to create a flower this size. But I'm probably going to make mine about 23 or 24 just to show you what a flower with a little bit smaller petals would look like. Basically just continue the looping and pulling process until your yarn chain is long enough. Then I'll be back to show you how to finish it off and form the petals. Once the knit part of my yarn tail has grown to about 23 inches long, then I just cut and leave some yarn at the top. It doesn't really matter how much, but you can see I kind of cut too much, so I snipped it down. Good story. Now I just have one loop around each peg, and the yarn that I cut at the top, I'm going to pull through each loop. Just kind of loosen the loop a little, and you want to make sure that this end yarn goes up through the loop. Like this, and just pull, and it's going out of focus. Just pull the end all the way through, and then you can take that loop off of the peg, and then you'll move on to the next one. We're doing the same thing that we did on the last loop, and that means just loosen it a little bit and pull the end of the yarn through, all the way through. And then remove the loop from the peg and spin it to move on to the next one. Moving on to there. Then you'll have one left, and we'll do the same thing for that one. Go, bam, and that's it. Pull tight and form a knot. Now it's time to form the petals. Ooh. There we go. To form the petals, it's going to be easiest if you use a needle, and this is just a plastic one. You'll want the end with the longer string of yarn, so this one right here. and then just stick the end of the yarn through the hole in the needle. Got it. And you just want to leave a little bit hanging. After that, you're going to kind of fold your petals into 5 equal sections. You can use a ruler to help you measure, but I just kind of eyeballed it, and by doing that, I kind of made one a little bit bigger on accident than the others, but it's okay. So just kind of like that, and like that. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the same thing, I just opened it up to make it easier for you guys to see what's going on. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and every little section is going to be formed into a petal, and then you'll attach it with the needle at the curve or the fold. Make sure to fold it really tightly and just kind of press down so you know exactly where the curve is, and then you'll take your petal and just put the end of it to that middle. You can see it forms a petal. At the crease, I'm going to stick the needle in. You'll just pull the yarn out, and that will tighten it. And you can see that the first petal is formed. Woohoo! So then this part would be the next section, and you're going to do the same thing. So the crease is at the top here. That's where the petal stops. So fold it so the crease meets this crease down here, and then you'll just stick the needle through the crease. Pull it through tightly, and we have petal number 2. Now I'm bringing the third crease over to the middle, and since the yarn is on the outside of this loop, I can just put it back through and attach it. Then pull through. 3 petals, 2 to go. Over here is my 4th crease. We're going to just do the same thing. Just form it into a petal and make the crease meet the other creases in the middle. Then you just do whatever you have to attach this end piece of yarn through the petal to get to the crease. So I stuck it through since it was on the outside of this petal, and then I'm just going to stick it through where the crease is. So this 4th petal that I did looks bigger than the other 3, so I'm just going to take that out and try it again. If that happens to you, that's okay, because you can just pull the thread out and put it in a different place for next time. I just redid the 4th petal by taking out the yarn, and then I just had to put it back through the needle after that. So now we're on the last section of the flower, and you're just going to do the same thing that you've been doing. Just fold the end into the middle, and then you're going to sew it up. Now that you've done that, you want to secure the last petal by just sticking it through the first petal again. So just find some random loops and just stick your needle through. Then just take the 2 end pieces of yarn and tie them together, form a couple knots, and make it totally secure. Now, once your flower is at this point, you can either glue a center to the middle, such as a button or a fake flower, a bead, anything you want. Or you can add this flower center, but I'm going to show you how to make it. For this frilly center, I used the other side of my loom knitter, which is the 8-pin one. If you made your own loom knitter for this, then you'll want to make another one that has 8 pegs instead of 5, or 8 popsicle sticks instead of 5. For this part, you're going to leave some extra yarn at the end, pull it down, and then you're going to work on looping it around all 8 pegs, so just kind of follow what I'm doing. It's hard to explain, kind of. I mean, you just go across the loom every time. So I'm kind of spinning it when I do it, and make a loop, and then go across, loop, go across, loop, and go across to the final peg and loop. You'll want to do this a total of 3 times so that there are 3 layers of yarn on each peg. So now we're back at the first one that we started on, and you'll go across again. Okay, so there's 2 layers complete, and now on to the 3rd. And you can push the yarn loops down as you go. And that's it. Then you'll just leave the end of the yarn out like this. Now there should be 3 pieces of yarn on all 8 pegs. I chose a third color for the very center and I just threaded my plastic needle. For this part, you basically want to make sure that you are connecting and tying together all of these little star patterns in the middle. So take your needle under all of the layers and just kind of bring it all the way to the other side here. So when it's across, you can tell that it's going to grab all of the layers of your yarn. But of course you want to keep doing this, so you can go back, down, and then out. This is a lot easier when you're actually doing it to see where everything's going, but you're just going to keep sticking your needle down underneath all of the loops, and then you're going to pull it out on the other side. Now my spool looks like this, and I'm just going to cut the yarn that is still connected. Now tie the 2 ends from the very middle together, then slide off all of the petals from the pegs. Then you're going to use the ends to tie it to the big flower. There you have it, beautiful yarn flowers. If you end up making your own, then please show me a picture on Instagram using hashtag SoCraftastic. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to check back next Friday for Crafty Friday, again here on SoCraftastic. I put out a new DIY every single week for you guys. And I like to switch up my crafts a lot. So last week I did some fall canvas art, which included crayon melting and gluing or Mod Podging fake leaves to your canvas. As always, I asked my viewers to send photos in of their canvas art, so here are all the lovely pictures that you guys sent to me via Instagram, hashtag SoCraftastic, and of course Twitter and Facebook as well. All of my links are in the description box below, so if you want to send pictures or just say hey, then go ahead and check them out. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye! Oh, they're all gonna... Okay, well now the yarn's all on the ground. Jumbo. You're going to need a You're going to need a knitting paper or paper towel roll, cardboard paper towel. I cannot speak today. To form the petals, stop it. Put it right there. Hey. I wish I had this mirror in the house. What am I doing? Headbum spin.